Money. So we all have money. Let's say you have a bunch of money lying around and it totals up to 100. And this money is being targeted by a wizard called Time. And he spins out a magical wand, and because of some magic that becomes 95. So why is this loss of 5 faced by your money? Now that spell is called inflation. What is inflation? Let me give you a good example. In 2005, with 500 rupees you could get 2 thalis, but when you went to 2010 you get 1.5. In 2020, 500 rupees only gets you 1 thali, and in 2025 it gets you less than half thali. So this is generally how inflation is thought about, but one thing that people generally ignore is inflation also has an evil twin. So you have inflation and you have deflation. Inflation is the case where the prices of commodities are continuously increasing, whereas deflation is the case where prices of commodities are decreasing. Now, deflation is caused due to oversupply of goods, whereas inflation is caused due to oversupply of money. What is oversupply of goods? Let's go and take an example of Counter-Strike economics to understand this. Now you have a very nice cool looking M4A4 howl, and in the entire world there is only one StatTrak factory new, and its price is currently $15,000. You are sitting in front of your computer and you have a crate and you open it and you are blessed by Lord Gaben and you get another M4A4 howl in the same StatTrak factory new configuration. Now what is the new change that has happened? You have received another M4A4 howl and the total supply in the world has become 2. So the price has automatically reduced. So because you have 2 M4A4 howls, each of those will not have a price of 15,000. So your M4A4 howl has reduced the total price of each unit by half. Now you are able to sell your M4A4 howl just for $7,500. This is the example of too many goods with same amount of money. That is oversupply of goods. On the other side, you have oversupply of money. For this, let's take an example of the Huntsman Doppler Ruby knife. Let's imagine that there is only one model, there is only one skin out there, and it is globally one of one. Now the current best offer for this is $1,000. So automatically the price which is being set for this knife is also $1,000. Tomorrow, if you get a new best offer where someone is increasing this price by $500, so automatically the new price of this one of one item becomes 1,500 because that is the perfectly matched new offer available. Because someone came up with more $500 to spend on this, the prices are also increasing by $500. This is the case of too much money but same amount of goods. So going back, if we take the case of inflation, there are 2 types of inflation which we will just quickly understand. First is demand pull, which is more hype driven inflation, and then there is cost push, which is more of cost driven inflation. We all know what this is. This has been the craze of 2025. So we have a Labubu doll, and in a hypothetical case, let's take the selling price of 100 and the cost to manufacture this doll being 30. Now the first case which I would like to take is where there is too much demand. Now this is what actually PopMart was facing, and let's say that PopMart decided to revise the selling price. It still costs them the same to make. They're not going to spend anything more than 30 to make one doll, but now seeing the higher demand, they are thinking that okay, let's set a new selling price of 200. This is demand pull inflation. Because there is too much demand, the manufacturer can set a higher selling price. which in general pushes the selling price or the price of commodities higher. On the other end, you have a case where the actual cost of production has increased. So previously you had a cost to make 30 and now your cost to make is 70. Because of this increase in cost, the seller is automatically increasing the selling price to maintain his margins. Now this is a case of cost push inflation. So your prices have increased because there was a legitimate increase in the cost to produce those goods. So your price faces push and pull. When the cost is increasing, that is leading to cost push inflation. When the demand is increasing, it is leading to demand pull inflation. Okay, now that we have these concepts out of the way, let's think of a simple question. What does RBI like? What does RBI do in this case? Turns out, RBI is more interested in inflation than deflation. But you might think that isn't deflation good for me because the prices of goods are going down lower, lower and lower. But no, the case of deflation is that it does not create a good enough incentive for manufacturers to create anything. If you take an example that you wanted to purchase a new laptop for 1 lakh rupees, but what you will do is you will wait. You will say, not today, I'll purchase it after a few months or maybe next year when the same laptop will be sold for less than 1 lakh. That is the case of deflation. Because of this, there is not enough incentive for the manufacturers to go ahead and produce something. That results in your factory closures. It also eventually leads to unemployment. But in case of inflation, the consumer is incentivized to go and purchase things right now because he knows that in the future the prices are going to increase. To avoid paying more for the goods which he requires to consume right now, he will go out and he'll purchase them right now. So the demand is not getting pushed into the future. Now this results in two main things. It creates an incentive structure for the companies to increase manufacturing, to invest more in the economy. That also again leads to higher salaries. Higher salaries leads to more investment, more savings, and your economic engine starts moving. So the best case for RBI is to keep inflation at a leash and with a target of 4% to 2% margin. Coming back to the wizard that we saw in the first part, he also has another spell that is called compounding. And what compounding is, we'll see next time. Thank you. Bye.